So I'm delighted to be with Rod Turner. It's just a short video session with Rod before we go into the main video, which is this coming Thursday evening. So everything's through remote. Rod, who's known for the Rodcast now, everyone keeps talking about the Rodcast to me, but it was Rod Turner before the Rodcast as well. Rod, I'm really delighted that you're going to be on the panel this coming Thursday. It's going to be a virtual panel. It's my first virtual panel, which is normally yours as well. So look, I'm really delighted who's going to join us on that panel. Yourself, we've got David Lawrenson, who's been in property since the 1980s. I was just thinking that he's probably actually been in property longer than Jack has been around, because I think Jack is 90s. I hope I've got Jack's, maybe he's mid 80s, but yeah, delighted to have David Lawrenson there, best-selling property author. He's a really traditional landlord. Julie Wetherell, who looks at HMOs, developers as well, care strategies. Rod, you're known for the Rodcast now, but there's much more to you than just the Rodcast, isn't there?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I've got a property investment and development company, so that's my background is mostly in development in London, and then we kind of do quite a bit in Manchester also, and a bit in Leeds. But yeah, I've been doing that for a bit over sort of 12, 13 years, I think. And the Rodcast is just a podcast that I put on, which is all about asset-backed businesses, and it's been only going for less than a year, but yeah, seems to be getting a good following now. So
yeah. So the name Rodcast was coined just to make sure that people know by Ross Harper, so he gets the
exactly, yeah.
So look, Rod, things have changed even depending when people are listening to this. Now, of course, one of the important statements was by Boris last night, 8:30. Maybe there's been important statements before that as well. What's your view on how best, and we go into much more detail this coming Thursday, on how best people can get, to recession-proof their property business?
Well, quite frankly, it could be a little bit late to start putting things in place now. That being said, what we do know is that things are changing at light speed. So, as at the speed at which this virus is kind of taking control, what we're seeing is reactions are changing sort of every day. Think back to, I think I put my first post about this about a month ago, sort of saying this was going to be a big issue, and I was called sort of a wacko and crazy. And that seems like even a week ago seems forever. And I think just in a short space of time, so much changes. So having said that, I know last week one of the big things we wanted to do was make sure we got as many materials to site as possible, because we sort of thought that these suppliers would not be running for too long. Then we felt that, right, if we've got materials on site and we have to shut the site, let's make sure we've increased security, so we've got good CCTV there. So things like that could be an issue going forward if there's a stronger lockdown. Is your site going to be at risk of maybe getting looted and things like that? Understanding the different remits if you're keeping your site open, if understanding what the kind of government guidelines are for people working on them. Obviously, it's difficult because you might have subcontractors who are self-employed, and you might be saying, look, we don't want anyone coming to site, and they go, well, I can't survive on £94 a week, which the government's offering me. Having said that, I do think that's about to change, but this is all about what you'll see is a lag between announcements and implementation. So you get the announcement that something's coming. So, for example, it could be the employee relief or grants that the government's doing through HMRC to pay 80% of the wage. And then there's a lag between the implementation. So that was announced, was it last week? I can't remember the days now. But then there'll be a lag about how quick that will actually, that money will get.
Boris's statement came out last Friday about the relief. So that was last Friday.
No. So last week that was, and it's probably unlikely that businesses will get that until May, because they have to fund that cash flow, and then they get a rebate from HMRC. So again, it's the key is, can your business stay alive until the time that it can receive that money? And I think what businesses need to understand is that this has happened so quickly. Governments and banks are not ready for this, so there is going to be some time while this is implemented. So it's important to get as much cash flow to keep going through it until you can until we can get out the other end, or when those funds come in, because the key here is biding time.
But people are still buying those, so it hasn't. Well, from reading online, auctions are still quite active, and people are still buying at auction. Look, I just wanted to cover security because maybe materials is just a bit too late. I've heard that Travis Perkins closed.
I think they've all shut, but what I do think will happen is, because we've got key workers, so plumbers and electricians coming to fix, I don't know, heating systems or non-water, things like that, that will fall under a criteria which is needed, which is vital work. They're going to need supplies. So I already know of a few plumbers merchants that are saying we are going to continue to sell, but we're just closing stores. So you'll need to order over the phone or through email, and then it will be delivered, or you come and collect. So I think what you'll find is all these stores will shut, but then they'll put things in place where they can actually get products to you, or you can go and pick them up if it's vital. So I do think there'll be a bit of that, but there's a difference between sort of building sites and emergency maintenance.
So just one quick thing to note, and lots of this I'm listening and learning online through Facebook Lives. I forgot the person who said it. I think it was Martin Rapley this morning on a Facebook Live, and he was talking about the cost of materials has gone up as well. So
well, the pound's at the lowest it's ever been, so that's another factor in that too. Obviously, you've got supply chain issues. It's going to be like any other business. For example, this whole kind of stuff with finding hand sanitizer and paracetamol and toilet paper. If you go into sort of your local corner shop and ask them for paracetamol, it's likely going to cost you sort of double what it would on any other normal day. And there's going to be no difference with materials, so people need to prepare for that.
Do you think it's too late for people to consider security as
No,
vital?
Absolutely not. I think it's very sensible, in the same way that managing agents would be considering doing virtual tours of their properties. I think what we need to prepare for is the worst. So if you prepare for that, you're going to come off a lot better. And if it doesn't happen, it's not the worst thing in the world. You might have wasted a little bit of time and a few quid on some CCTV cameras, maybe, or doing a video of a flat in case you've got to go and market it. So I absolutely think that's a very sensible thing for people to be doing now.
Well, there's a lot more questions, and of course, some of the answers will come out this coming Thursday evening at 7 p.m. So I've moved it slightly later, 7 p.m. in the evening, normally 6:30. So as I say, delighted to welcome yourself, Julia Wetherill, Daryl Knocker. I'm just going to have a quick look at my slides to see if I've got anything which specifically talks about the event this Thursday. So just bear with me one moment. While I'm doing that, can you just let the listeners know how they can find out more about your actual podcast, which is the Rodcast?
Yeah, follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn, but you can just, if you search on the usual platforms, Rodcast, it's on the business, it should hopefully come up. It's a podcast all about asset-backed investments with obviously the focus is on UK real estate. So we've had some really great guests on. It's a bit of a mixture between interviews and also very technical discussions on specific subjects.
So I just want to say massive thanks for today, and also massive thanks for taking time out this coming Thursday evening. So the video like tonight or today, but will be obviously more people using the platform Zoom. So just want to say massive thanks, and also Aaron Yahara will be chairing that event alongside myself. So look, and just a final thanks to my sponsors who are still supporting my events. So massive thanks for them being on board. So Rod, I just want to say massive thanks, and thanks to our listeners as well. Thank you.
Brendan, thanks. Bye.